did you know that electric cars were way more popular than petrol cars 100 years ago?
100 years ago.
Just over 100 years ago, electric cars were way cooler than petrol cars already.
What are you talking about?
And they were.
We had electric cars existed 100 years ago.
Over 100 years ago,
What?
I'll tell you. And
what, do they drive for like 5 minutes?
No, they weren't that. They had limited range, but they were way more reliable than shitty petrol cars back then.
In the 1920s, they had electric
in the 1890s.
1890s, they had electric cars.
So this,
tell me.
This is the car. Is the Fetherstonhaugh.
The Fetherstonhaugh.
The Fetherstonhaugh is the most. It's a shit name for a car because no one can say it.
When was it invented?
So it was around from 1893 to 1912. This electric car.
How the fuck?
So in 1897, the best-selling car in the USA was an electric vehicle built by the Pope Manufacturing Company called the Columbia Motor Carriage. So electric vehicles had a big advantage over gasoline at the time because the gasoline engine was very early in design and shit most of the time. So they did not have the vibration, smell, or noise of a gasoline car. They also did not require gear changes, so they were mechanically more simple.
How long could they last, though? They couldn't have gone very far.
No, but most people were just driving around small urban areas, like towns and stuff.
Well, do you have the...
Because they weren't
do you have the details on that?
Well, yeah, I don't have specific ones about all of them, but they weren't big road networks at the time. It was still small dirt roads and things between towns.
Okay.
Because it was mainly trains to get around. So if you were in a town, it was just a little thing to get around town instead of a horse.
Oh, right. Right.
So
I need to go 3 blocks. I'd rather not walk because it's raining.
Yeah, you jump in your electric car.
Okay, interesting.
And steam-powered cars also existed at the time.
Holy fuck, that's crazy.
But they took 45 minutes to start up on cold mornings.
And you had to carry around it like a
small man shoveling coal.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And also, the gasoline cars had a hand crank at the front to get the engine started.
I do remember that.
That's and electric ones didn't. So at the time, if you were going to buy a car, an electric car was way superior to any other car.
I mean, do you have any details at all about how long they lasted?
Joseph William Still, the British engineer who moved to Canada, teamed up with patent lawyer Frederick Barnard Fetherstonhaugh, which is where the name of the car comes from.
Okay.
So when they teamed up together, they designed a quiet, lightweight automobile specifically for Fetherstonhaugh as like a prototype that would let him to commute to work in style and comfort. So he was like, let's build a car together. And their mutual kind of passion, they did.
How long would it take to charge this battery?
It had 12 still lead acid batteries with a 4 horsepower DC motor. It could manage an hour of driving at 24 kilometers an hour.
What?
And it weighed 700 pounds.
I'm sorry. What? What year was this?
This was, the late 1890s.
1890s. It could drive for a fucking hour?
And at 24 kilometers an hour.
24 kilometers. Well, so you know what? The electric scooters that I drive around Halifax, they have a maximum, which I always crank it up to, of 25 kilometers per hour. So I know what that's like. And that's a decent speed.
Yeah.
Like that's not bad at all. I'd say it's comparable to a horse. That's kind of giving her a little bit.
Yeah.
Not galloping, but like it's certainly, the way I look at it is no one can run that fast.
No, exactly. And you really go in for it on a bike. You know, it's a respectable bike speed.
It's a respectable bike speed, exactly. For an hour? That's impressive as fuck.
It's good, isn't it?
That's really good for 1890s, whatever.
Exactly.
Jeez, today it'd be shit, but like 100 some years ago?
Over 120 years ago.
That's unbelievable.
So it weighed 700 pounds. It was heavier than a gas car, but it was just over half the weight was just from the power system, which is typical. The designer wanted all the cutting-edge comfort, so it had a set of electric lights, a folding top, a wire-spoke pneumatic wheels, which at the time, most electric cars still had wooden wagon wheels.
Oof.
So this one actually had modern spoked wheels.
Oh, cool.
And it was smooth, speedy, and whisper quiet, and the exact car Featherstone wanted. So he used it for 10 years.
Wow.
And he charged it at home because he had one of the first electrified homes in Toronto.
So what happened?
What you found was road infrastructure was improving, and so was the technology with petrol cars. So, because
out of steam, electricity, and petrol just won out.
Yeah, because the cars got quieter, more reliable. Over the decades, they refined it. It got better and better. And also, as the roads improved, you could go further, but electric cars couldn't. Because electric cars were starting to fade, the electric car industry had a smart idea. So,
Not too smart, apparently.
oh, no, it wasn't. No. And by smart, I mean incredibly sexist. So the open road, powerful cars for the open road that travel long distances, they're for men. Small electric cars that mean you can't go too far and go away from the controlling eye of your husband, that's a woman's car. They were like, women just need a car to go around town to buy you food and do your laundry. And you can buy a powerful engine and drive to town to see your girlfriend.
Baking cake mix that came out, I forget when, the 50s? I think the 50s. So you got like a cake box.
Yeah, you just shove it in, crack an egg.
So that's interesting. The egg thing. That's my part. That's my point. Okay. When it first came out, you didn't have to do anything but add water. You just added a cup or two of water, mixed it, put it in the thing, and it didn't sell. We're like, why isn't this selling? This thing tastes amazing. It's so quick to make. No one's buying this. And it's because at the time, women were the bakers. Women were the cookers. They were the ones that made the meals. So they re-engineered the ingredients so that you had to add an egg. Before, the egg was already kind of involved.
So it still felt like you were doing something.
So it still felt like you were doing something. And then suddenly, no, I'm dead serious. And then they sold like fucking mad.
Yeah.
Like just adding an egg. But even you know that. You're like, just crack an egg.
Yeah,
yeah.
Like,
right?
One of my wife found she had a Dolly Parton brand cake mix, which is interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah. This led to one car manufacturer coming up with the most dangerous car design I've ever heard of. They were like, a car for a woman? I know what a woman needs. So the Detroit Electric and Waverly Electric launched a model in 1912 that was completely redesigned to cater to women.
Okay.
As well as being electric, they were operated from the back seat, and they turned the front seats in so you could all sit around and chat because women like talking.
Oh my fucking God.
So they could natter away like headless birds. But which also made it incredibly...
The natterer.
Which also made it incredibly difficult to see the road. And they wore hats as well in those days. Steering, they provided an old-fashioned tiller rather than a wheel, which was meant to be less strenuous, but was less precise and much more dangerous.
That's so funny, man. Oh my God. What was it instead of a steering wheel?
Just like a little windy wheel instead
How does that
of a
work for a
steering wheel.
steering wheel?
Well, it was less strenuous, but less precise and much more dangerous.
So wind it to the right to go right, wind it to the left to go left?
Hang on, Betsy, lean to the left. I need to take this turn. Yes, Sharon. Oh, fuck, we just hit a horse. Sharon, she's bleeding from the head. Someone call the doctor. Life is hard in the early 20th century. The Fetherstonhaugh disappears from the historical record after 1912, and its final fate is unknown. So the incredible electric car that was designed and built in Canada and operated successfully for 10 years as a commuter vehicle vanished with no evidence.
That's amazing.
And the internal combustion engine became king of all the land.